In the city, loving life and trying to survive. But there's not enough time, and there's not enough wine in the world. Basically adulting. Basically adulting.
Hey friends, it's Erin Waddell
and Luisa Diaz, and welcome back to Basically Adulting.
We have a special guest here today, my best friend for like 10 years almost, 5'7" bombshell, Kelly Thomas.
Hi, everybody.
We're so happy to have you as our first guest on our show.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yes, we're so excited
I'm
to
a
have
little
you.
nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Don't be.
Take a sip of wine.
Yes, take a sip of our wine of the show.
I can do that.
19 Crimes. So let's cheers to 19 Crimes.
Yay. One of our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
We're super excited. Let's just go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. Do you want to just like tell everyone kind of how you know us and how we met, basically?
Yeah, so Erin and I met freshman year of college, going
A
into
long
a
time
sorority.
ago.
Yeah, 10 years now. We were going into a sorority off of Fayette, Texas Tech, and we were rushing, and she was one of the first people I met at Tech.
We were like instant friends.
Yeah, I guess they say you pay for your friends. And, no, I'm just kidding.
Your mom still pays me to this day.
We just connected and became really great friends, and then became roommates after that, and stayed roommates all throughout college. And then we graduated, and you stayed in Midland for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I came back to Dallas, and I got a job here. And then you ended up finally coming back to Dallas. And
Finally, after 2 years of being in Midland.
yeah, thank goodness. And then we continued our friendship in Dallas, and
Yeah,
nothing
and
has changed.
I would come back and like visit as much as I could. I mean, I used all my vacation days
Oh yeah.
to come back to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in Midland, I wasn't going on trips anywhere. I was literally using my 10 days of vacation to come home.
Yeah, and then we would go on trips together still.
Mm-hmm.
So we've known each other for a while. And then I know Luisa through Erin. They worked together,
Mm-hmm.
and we became friends through Erin.
Yes. Full circle.
Full
Yeah.
circle. We're all connected.
Yes.
And I love how you can bring a friend in, and your friends become best friends with those people.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think that's really, like, in our group of people, we're very just, like, laid-back girls, very accepting, like, the more the merrier. Just bring all your people, and let's have a good time.
Yeah, and I love that about us.
Not judgmental.
Now, I can't promise that has always happened.
I mean, there could be some
They have
times.
to click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you vibe with people.
You
But I think
definitely
that we're
vibe
pretty
with
easy to
people.
vibe with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But we
It's
also
fun.
don't let shit slide. Okay, so just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I work for a company called Ferguson. We're a wholesaler for plumbing, appliances, and lighting. I've been a consultant there for 5 years now, which is crazy.
Holy
Got my job out of college. And I say I got lucky because I'm in the design industry, building industry, and I get to help homeowners select their homes and all the fixtures that they're going to have. And I just love it.
My dad and I did our first flip. We're like, oh yeah, we'll use you. Like, it's going to be great. And then we like bought a $400 tub and we're like, I don't think that we're going to be able to use you anymore. We got to get those like $100 tubs from Home Depot, like the refurbished.
Well, and it's so funny because trying to tell people what I do for a living has been like the biggest struggle of what I actually do.
I remember when you first got your job, you had no idea how to explain it to people.
No. I usually would say I sell shitters and ice boxes as a big joke because no one really got it either. There's not, unless they're in the industry, like you really have to kind of explain it.
You know, we're like, all right, Kelly's selling shitters now. Like, I just remember it being like a huge joke and be like, do you even know what she really does? I'm like, I really have no clue.
And every time I told
idea.
my dad's friends, he would be like, can we romance this a little bit? Like, let's work on that.
Yeah. Sell yourself just a little bit. Work on
Yeah.
your 30-second elevator pitch.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It changes every time I tell people what I do too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I'm in sales. I like to think I can talk to anyone and
Also, shout out to Kelly because she just won a trip to Chicago.
Oh yeah. It was Brizo Exclusives. So Brizo is a faucet manufacturer, and Ferguson has exclusives with them where you can only purchase at Ferguson. And so I sold the most in our area, and actually I guess in all of Texas. And so yeah, I won a trip to Chicago.
Wow, congrats.
We get to go see
And she's
their
bringing me.
showroom.
She gets to bring a friend or
I'm
a companion,
so excited.
and I'm her
Yeah.
companion.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cold.
It is gonna be cold.
It's gonna be freezing cold. I actually won the same trip for Delta, which they're like parent companies, but I won the same trip about 2 years ago and got to go on it. But
Oh, nice.
we
To
brought a designer
Chicago?
to
Oh, nice.
Chicago. So
Do y'all have a like headquarters are up there or anything, or is it just
not for Ferguson, but Brizo, they've got a big showroom there.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
That
So
makes
we'll get to
sense.
go there and see all of their product. It's mostly just a fun trip that they're gifting me with. And then last year or 2 years ago, I didn't stay the weekend. So this year we'll get to stay
Yeah.
the weekend. It's gonna be a lot of
Ooh.
fun. We'll get to explore Chicago and
It'll be a lot
the
of fun.
Windy City.
Chi-town.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited. So excited.
Exciting. What has led you to like stay in like your current career field?
The fact that I truly enjoy working for Ferguson, working where I'm at. I'm not in a cubicle. I work with some amazing designers in Dallas, and I've become friends with half of them. And I get to sit down with them, go over plans, pick out everything with these homeowners, and just seeing their joy. Sometimes frustration it's really fun. It's not typical, and it's something new every day. You learn something new every day, and it's never boring. So, and then also in the sales part of it, I love to try to outdo myself and outsell what I did the month before, and so that's what's kept me here. Of course, there's always room to grow, and
Right.
I think eventually I want to do outside sales, which would be the next step for me.
But I think that's really rare for someone to come out of college and find a job that they're so happy with. Like
I got
haven't.
super lucky.
Yeah, you got super
did.
lucky, and like
And my
that's not heard of
no,
very
it's-
much
No, and
at
like
all.
you still like speak so highly of it.
Yeah.
Like you love it.
There's a lot of pains, but at the end of the day, it's also providing me a nice life, and so and you just kind of work through those. I thought I was going to be in sports marketing. So I interviewed with the Dallas Stars and a whole bunch of baseball teams, and I went to job fairs, and I actually got a job with the Dallas Stars. And I just realized I didn't want to live with my parents forever, so
I remember when you were debating on taking that job and this job, you're like, I literally don't know anything about what this is, but I have so many other options and opportunities, and this one I'm gonna have to live with my parents for a really, probably for a long time.
it would have been more fun, but I didn't at the time. I thought it would have been more fun.
Yeah.
Because it's the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
I love sports. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to, I guess, go to the games
Yeah.
instead of work them, that was a big factor as well. And so yeah, I just got lucky.
Tell us when you graduated college, kind of like your journey of your living situation and how, like, where you are now.
So right out of college, I moved back to Grapevine to live with my parents, and I started as a trainee at Ferguson, and that warehouse was in Euless, so it was pretty close actually, so the commute wasn't bad. And I lived there for about a year and a half. And then I actually started dating someone while I lived with them. And then...
How was that? Was that weird?
You know, it wasn't that bad, except for the first meeting was him completely wasted.
Oh my God.
Coming into my home. And normally, you know, if you're an adult and you're living on your own, that's not a problem. If they come over and they've had a couple of drinks, he entertained. He actually worked for the same company as me. So that's not an
your
issue.
first meeting, though. Like,
But for
maybe
right.
tone it down
Yes.
for the first meeting.
But when you want them to be there and your parents live there, they're going to run into each other. My mom happened to be up. My dad was sleeping. And he came in and he was completely shit-faced.
Oh, no.
And he was slurring his words a little bit, and I kept trying to interrupt him so he would stop talking.
Oh my God.
Thinking that my mom would be like oblivious to him being so wasted. And she wasn't. And she looks at me and she goes, "He seems really sweet, but can you have him sleep here tonight?"
Was Lefty out or closed?
Yes.
It wasn't.
She's talking about his left eye. Whenever he got drunk, it would close.
Oh my gosh.
God.
That's not a very good impression. So boys,
No.
men, if you're meeting the parents for the first time,
Make sure
take
you're not
note and don't drink before you meet them.
Yeah.
Maybe one shot to calm your nerves,
Yeah.
but don't show up shit-faced.
We laughed at it for a long time. But yeah, so then I wanted to move to Dallas, and with our company, we have showrooms all over the Metroplex. There's Fort Worth, Grapevine, Dallas. There was McKinney. Now there's Frisco. And so I knew I wanted to be in the showroom, and I didn't know where I was going to be, but I always went to Dallas because all my friends hung out there. And so I decided to look to get an apartment with one of my girlfriends there. And shout out to Mel J.
Shout out,
First
Melly.
roommate in Dallas. So we got an apartment right in the State Thomas neighborhood. It was still to this day one of my favorites. Love that
It was
area.
a great location.
So great. And then I was commuting from Dallas to Euless for a few months. And then finally they gave me a promotion to go to the Dallas showroom. So it ended up working out perfectly. I was 5 minutes from work. I loved where I lived. And we had a little coffee shop that we could walk to. All the close bars were right there. So I think we lived there for about 2 years. Or maybe a year and a half, and it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was so great. And so it just fell into place, and then I moved to Knox Henderson, a little bit more north, actually just one exit north. and now I'm loving this area, so Dallas
And she
has
lives
been
by
good to me.
herself now, so.
And I do. I live by myself now, which is amazing.
So you're like moving up in the world. Like
Yeah.
first your parents, then a roommate, and then now you're by yourself.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's made me more independent, which I think I always relied on someone.
Mm-hmm.
So living by yourself, I think you learn a lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally get to learn about yourself if you live with people. You're always relying on someone, like, it's up to you to survive. Like, no one's going to knock on your door and say, hey, you're waking up for work today?
Yeah, exactly. So how do you feel about like kids now? I mean, like society has this whole thing on kids that are moving home and want to live with their parents until they're 35. Like what?
Absolutely not. I think that's crazy. I lived with my parents for a year and a half, and I wanted to get out as soon as I could.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that people want to go back home and live with their parents.
I
They
know.
need to-
Yeah.
But I think that's a comfort. It's a comfort area.
think
They're
so, too.
comfortable.
Weird.
Whenever I moved back from Midland,
I don't understand why they want to live there so much.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand, because I never thought that in my mind. Like, that was never my,
like it was a permanent thing. Never.
Right.
ever.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they want to, but I guess it would just be completely, like, comfortable. And then, of course, if you're getting benefits,
Yeah.
food,
Well,
Yeah.
mom's
rent,
doing
it's
laundry.
easy.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. You don't have to pay rent.
Yeah.
Which is great, and I think people should live if they need to.
Get back on their
If
feet.
you can,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and not even get back on your feet, but like save a
Save
little
up
bit.
some.
You know, put you ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But don't make that like your ultimate goal. Is to, I mean, I don't think anyone goes into it like, oh, I'm going to live with my parents for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I think that they get there and then it turns into a comfortability thing with things being handed to them, then they never want to leave. They're like, why would I want to leave?
Yeah.
And
like,
the parents, I think it's their job as well. So my
Agreed.
brother lived at home. He actually moved back home for a little bit because he was in between places. And he actually had lost his job. And he was looking for jobs. And I remember my dad would make him wake up every morning, like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was his job to find a job. So there was no incentive to stay. It wasn't like,
Kyle's like, I don't want to wake up to find a job. I want to wake up and go to a job in my own apartment, pay for my own stuff.
Yeah.
I think parents also have a responsibility to help their kids
Motivate
be
them to
independent.
be better and independent, yeah.
Which I think parents, I think they're great. I think everyone, you know, like I would never judge someone of how they raise their kids. Like there's so many factors that go into that.
And there's not a perfect formula of
To raise
how
a
to raise a
child.
child.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No.
I think a little tough love is important.
It's
though,
really
too.
important,
Like,
yeah.
love them,
Agree.
but be like, okay, go get a job and go move out, like, and be on your own. Because you're not gonna get the life experience that you are gonna get living on your own. Like you were saying, it makes you more independent. It teaches you things that.
Or like savings. Like sometimes you're like, maybe I shouldn't go out to eat tonight because my rent, you know, you don't think about those things. There's a whole lot of things you don't think about when you're living at home. And, but knowing that they're always there too, like if knowing that you have a support system, that also helps.
Yeah.
So I think it's harder for people who might not have that, to actually do that on their own. And I think I'm lucky there too. Like I have great parents and
I think we're all very blessed in the parents
Yeah.
department and kind of how we grew up. We've kind of talked about it. Like, we grew up in Flower Mound, Luisa and I, and it was like a bubble.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a bubble. I felt like driving to Dallas when I was in high school was so far.
yeah.
Like, there's a Lamborghini shop
yeah.
on 35, and we went there one day, and it was like a road trip. And it was like, I don't know. I think that as kids, too, like, we shouldn't be going out and, like, going on road trips or anything, but
No, go
just
explore.
just go explore. Be back by 10, though.
You know what I heard? I heard from one of my customers actually today that no one plays on the streets anymore, which I think is absolutely nuts. Yes, she's one of my designers and she has kids, and her, like, if it's not planned, it doesn't happen. And she said that her
It's not
kids,
planned.
like a play date, if it's not planned, it doesn't happen. And she said that her kids will FaceTime other kids and play with their toys. And I'm like, that's
What?
Oh,
my God.
I'm like, at least they're playing with each other.
Not really.
But
Not
like,
really.
They're not really
well,
social.
they're
Is
not
that
looking
still
at a
socializing?
screen. You know,
They're
They're
not
still
like-
looking at a screen.
no,
Kelly.
you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
They're not playing
yes.
a video game.
That's true. But
But
they're talking to someone.
right, but I remember we used to like go out until it was 6 o'clock. It was
Yeah.
dark.
They'd just
and-
be like, Mom, I'm going out to so-and-so's house.
Oh, and see you later. And
Yeah.
Be
all
back
the
by
kids would
dinner.
meet up at, the corner, and we'd play kickball or hide
Yeah.
and seek or whatever. She's saying now that if someone sees a kid and they know who it is, like they'll call CPS on you.
What? Oh my God.
What?
That's a little drastic.
That is
Isn't
so drastic. It's like, no, my kid's actually just getting some fresh air playing kickball in the courtyard. Now, I think you have a good handle on what adulting is. And I feel like people could learn from your experiences. So why don't you tell us what comes to mind when you think of adulting?
Crying? No. No.
Wine.
Wine. A
Lots
lot
of
of
wine.
wine. Honestly, I haven't figured out what adulting is yet. And I think that's okay because I think you have to learn as you go. And if anyone else knows how to adult, please
Contact us.
please contact
Please.
me and please give me your advice. But really, it's more just growing and learning from your previous maybe mistakes that you've made, because I know it's like when you're a child, you will repeat the same mistakes over and over. You don't really learn. So I think as an adult, just realizing like who you are and then being self-aware and changing some of the things, I think that's
one of the
learning how to be an
hardest
adult.
struggle is figuring out who the hell you are. You're like, what do I believe in? What are my values? Who are my friends? It's hard to figure out who your true friends are.
Yeah.
I mean, I got you guys, so I'm blessed. But
even
I mean,
days when you feel like you don't have anybody,
Yeah.
it's like, who are you and what is your purpose? And I think
Right.
that's such a struggle for someone who's
what
becoming
is your
an adult.
purpose? Is
Yeah.
You know, like, what direction am I going? And it's like,
where do you want to go? Because
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing. You're like, I don't even know. There's so many directions that I could possibly go.
it's so true.
It's like you're in a cave and you know where all the tunnels are and you're like in the middle.
You're like in a circle and like,
and you're like, it's like,
yeah,
you're literally
a little bit.
down.
And then you see your friends doing these things like creating families, moving into new homes, and getting new jobs, and you just question yourself over and over and over. And I feel like that happens to everybody. And as long as you are constantly growing and learning and changing a little bit for the better, that's sort of growing up. That's adulting.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, you're still always just trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever really have it figured out.
No. I don't know if you do, but when I do, I'll come back.
Okay, yeah, we'll have you
and
back
I'll
on.
let you know what I've learned.
Please do.
That's great. So, like, in a couple weeks, like, come back, and because I'm sure there's going to be times and tribulations within the next...
And if I crash or burn, just help me up.
Of course. We're here for you.
We'll be there
See,
to pick
that's
you
what
up.
you need, is having that support system, and that's why I think we're lucky in having the friends that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And for so long,
Yeah, that's really
it
unheard of,
becomes
honestly.
like family, knowing that I can always call no matter what. Not that I always do, but like even friends that live in another state or city or whatever, I know at the end of the day, if I've been friends with them since first grade, second grade, I still have great friends I've been friends with since kindergarten, and I know I can call them. I know when we get together, there's going to be laughs, and it's going to be like we never left each other, and I think that is amazing.
That's priceless,
Yeah.
honestly.
It warms your heart. Having
It really
that.
does. Like, whenever I hang out with you guys, and then, like, I'm by myself, I'm like, oh, I miss them.
That's nice.
Or, like, you know when you, like, go to,
I think
like,
I have that effect on people.
like, you go to, like, a big party or something, and then, like, you're driving home, and you're like, man, I had a really good time with all my friends, you know?
When everybody's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all, like holiday parties and birthdays, and every time you get a big group that's really close and more intimate, not like a huge group that you don't know, but intimate friends and family, every single time I'm like, why can't we do this all the time?
Yeah, I think every time we're like, we need to do this more.
Yeah.
Why don't we do it more?
Just making that effort. I think someone has to be the one to reach out, and I know I haven't always been good at that, but it's, those doubts that you have.
Yeah.
It's like, will everyone want to hang out again?
Does everyone like me?
Yeah.
I think that's a struggle that a lot of people have, is like just being accepted for like who they are and being who they are, like truly to themselves, and just not giving two shits about what other people think about them. And if they don't want to hang out with you, they're not your true friends. So
It's a hard pill to swallow, though.
so hard. Saying it
and feeling it are completely different.
Yes. But even like with dating too, we've been talking about this recently. Just like if a guy wants to talk to you, he will.
Oh yeah.
There's no reason why, if he's not responding to you, don't like stop putting your effort into him.
Oh yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
So exhausting.
Well, that's something that has been funny to me living on my own, because you realize that you'd rather be in your PJs without your bra on instead of going on a date, and that's when you know you don't like somebody.
Yeah. Well, dating in general nowadays is just like so sucky.
Yeah. It's just
I
like,
really hate it.
it's just really lazy.
I
Because we
want
just like
someone
sit on our
lazy.
couch
Oh, I
and just
agree.
swipe left and right and...
I want someone to knock on my door and be like, I'm here to take
so
you
scary.
on a date.
You want the
Very-
rom-com.
I want
Joe Goldberg.
the pizza man to just be super hot and be like, here's my
No,
number,
maybe
call
not the
me.
pizza man.
Okay, maybe he's the, I don't know. Okay, yeah, not
The
the
guy
pizza
at the
man.
coffee shop.
Unless
That's-
you're a hot pizza man, and then she definitely
Unless
wants
you have like motivations to get a better paying job in the future, you could be a pizza man. If that's a cute story of how we would meet and tell our children how we meet. I brought her pizza, her favorite food in the whole world. She was in her PJs, in her element. And I knocked on that door. 1, 2, 3. And she answered.
I hope that happens for you one day. I truly do.
I really hope that happens to me so much.
God.
So any pizza man out there that think they're hot, I mean, DM us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Hashtag basically adulting.
Basically adulting.
Oh. Let's not even go into
Hashtag.
social media.
Why? Let's go into it.
Yeah.
What about it?
I'm the worst. I have to
Why?
ask every one of my friends how to do something on Instagram, Snapchat, and it's so embarrassing. I'm like, and how do you get that filter? And how do you do that hashtag? And
I feel like
I feel like
better.
an old mom. That's when I truly feel like an adult. I'm like, this is what it feels like to be an adult when you don't know social media.
Yes, exactly.
When you don't know something that the generation before you knows.
Yeah, my sister, she's 8 years younger than me, so she always is like on the new trend of like what's going on in social media, and so now like that whole TikTok thing.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
whatever.
It's a craze.
And she has like done it or whatever and shown it to me, and she thinks it's hilarious. Like she'll show it to me and just like laugh her ass off, and I'm like, that is so dumb. Like, what are you doing?
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Clearly we need to do one.
I think we probably
should do one.
We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll post it. We'll figure it out and we can post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Y'all will want to see my moves.
I don't know. We have to like read the instructions on how to do TikTok.
one.
Okay,
Oh
we'll
my
have to
gosh.
do that. If you have any advice, send it our way.
Got a bunch of like 10-year-olds sending us instructions.
I'll at my sister real quick.
Kelly,
Yeah.
are you currently dating?
Dating, yes. Is it serious? No.
How many people are you dating at
Yeah.
once?
Well, that's a tough question. I don't really keep count. Not seriously. I go on quite a few dates.
Okay, that's fair.
How many like do you average a week?
New or dates? Like new
Dates.
people?
It doesn't matter. Just
Total.
like
Average a week, 1 to 2. It's not that
Okay,
crazy.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Getting off the couch and like getting
Yeah.
out.
And trust
Getting
me,
a
it's
free meal.
hard because meeting new people for me is challenging, I think.
Mm-hmm.
As an adult, meeting new people is challenging.
Yeah.
And not just guys. I don't know. I think there's a
New
trust
people.
thing. Yeah. And just because I did grow up with close friends. And so letting someone else in is like, it's pretty challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in my comfort zone. But yeah, I'm actually really good on first dates. So it's kind of funny because I always get a second date.
If I do say so myself.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Exactly.
But then it's like that follow up and that, do I really like him and is it
Well,
too much?
and I think
and
that's
that's where I fail.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that's appreciated, like, if you don't really feel it on the first date, like, there's really no need to go on a second date, and I feel like you're very good about being upfront and being like, look, there's nothing here,
Yeah.
I
you
can't
know?
hide anything on my face. If I don't like you, you will know. That's so sad. But it's true.
But if you get asked on second dates, like, you're obviously not showing it on your first date.
No, I'm telling you, I'm good. It's because
You're just
I
so
want
lovable.
to get to know someone,
You're
you know?
just so lovable, and
Well, I
guys,
try to make a lot of them my friends, but they don't like that.
I don't think that they're on dating apps to just be friends.
But there should be an app where we could just like make friends with guys.
Yes, like,
No, I think it should be an app. If the date doesn't work out, you're allowed to be friends with them.
yeah.
Like an
I think
option. Or like,
Option.
oh, I went on a date.
Yes.
Didn't
Can
work
I-
out, but
yeah.
let's be friends.
Because there's a lot of guys that I wasn't maybe like physically attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
I had great conversation.
But or I could see them maybe dating one of my friends. And so something like that where it would be more of a networking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they have like Bumble BFF for you can pick like if you want to be friends with girls or guys, right?
Really? I thought it was just, I don't know. I've
Again, there's
ventured.
that social media.
I've
Just-
ventured that way,
I
yeah.
don't know. I have enough friends in my corner for now, so
Yeah.
Did I answer your question though?
yeah, like
Yeah.
1 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us what the worst date you've ever been on is.
The worst.
The absolute worst.
Date
Like,
I've ever
makes you
been on.
cringe when you think about it.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I've had a cringe-worthy date. I'm gonna have to think about it.
You had to have had one.
My
Kelly.
wheels-
At least,
Returning.
if you're going on 1 to 2 dates a week,
Yes.
that's at least 100 dates a year.
Oh, okay. I have got one. This was probably like 5 months ago, maybe longer. I went on this date and we met on Hinge, and we sat down at one of my favorite little coffee wine bars.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation was good. His picture wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but it didn't bother me. But as we started talking, he mentions that he got kicked off of Hinge. And so I was asking him why, and he was kind of beating around the bush. He wouldn't really tell me. He said it was silly. It wasn't his fault. All this stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to let that one slide. Or probably not talk to him again, but not keep continuing this conversation. Like, it's weird. Well, then he continues to tell me that he's not actually 29 is what his profile said. He's 33. Why would you lie about that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so, again, just bad taste in my mouth. I'm just sitting there like, when is this date going to be over? Well, then he tops it off, the cherry on top, with he is telling me the story of how he met this girl on Hinge. Well, he is going to see her. This girl is now dating his buddy, but they're both going to see her. She lives in a different state. Apparently, she used to be a stripper. Now they're all friends, which, I mean, if you turn your life around or whatever, if you want to do that, that's your business, whatever. But, like, they're all friends, and this friend of his is a stripper, and I was just like, I don't think we are compatible. And so at some point, I remember chugging my wine because I had a full glass, and I can't chug anything, but I remember chugging it just so I could leave, and for him to ask me, like, do you want another one? I'm like, no, we can get the check. Like,
Yeah.
But I remember, like, oh, this is so hard. I'm, like, gulping it down so I could leave.
God.
So he asked if he can walk me to my car, and I literally was like, no, I don't think so.
Good for
God.
you. Good
I
for
didn't
you.
want him to, like, know where I was, and I didn't know. I want him to know what I was driving. The whole thing was just bizarre. He had lied during the date. He had gotten kicked off of Hinge. I don't even know how that happened.
How do you get kicked off of Hinge?
So that was probably the worst date I've ever been on, and really, I haven't had terrible dates. Like,
That's good.
for the most
really
part,
good.
they're fun. They're easy.
And I mean, you can spend at least like an hour or two with really
Anybody,
anyone.
yeah. As long as you find like commonality, like I agree, it's easy to spend and get to know. It's small talk, which is a little bit annoying, but it's.
But that's how you really get to know someone. Like, that's why it's so annoying. Like, on the first day of school, you would always have to do those stupid questions. Like, where are you from? What do you like to do? Give us an interesting fact about yourself. And remember on the first day of Rush, like, we had 11 houses that we had to go through, and literally it was the same conversation at every single house.
And really, if you've got a script, it's the same thing over and over. You start, like, editing a little bit, making yourself
some improv.
Seem a little bit better than you are.
But there was a time, and I'll never forget this, that my mom, I guess, was in for Mom's Weekend or something, and we all went to this bar local in Lubbock, and there was a basketball game on. It was during March Madness, and my mom's like super into basketball, and she was like up at the bar watching the game, and there was this guy sitting next to her, standing next to her, whatever, and she's just like watching, like cheering on, like, you know, being her goofy self, and he's communicating with her, and she's just asking him questions, and she goes, if my team wins, you buy me and all of my girls a shot. And we're like, no, we're somewhere else in the bar. She's like,
Wing woman.
She's like, you buy me and all of my girls a shot, and if your team wins, I'll buy you and all of your boys a shot or whatever. And so her team ended up winning, and we all got to take a free shot. And I was like, Mom, go you. And she's like, all you got to do is ask them questions about themselves, and they'll tell you their whole life story. Like, it's that easy. And so if you can do that for an hour,
and
2 hours
if
tops.
you just ask questions, people like to talk about themselves.
That's people's favorite topic is themselves.
You have to learn to listen. That's the struggle for me sometimes. I'll start on a rant about myself, and I'm like, take it back.
Okay, so I'm glad that you haven't been on that many bad dates. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's really good.
Yeah, I guess.
But you're very easy to talk to. You're very,
Get a glass of wine in me, and
and then
I'll
you
talk
gotta
about anything.
I'm an
press
open
the off
book.
button.
Yes.
So, what is have you read the Five Love Languages book? Do you know what your love language is?
I haven't read the book, but I took a survey thing for work. Actually, we did a team building, and
You remember what they
sort
are?
of know, kind of not. But
You had to guess.
if
what
I
they
had to think about it again, well, let me know what they are.
So there's
say 'em
physical
all.
touch,
Mhm.
quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, and receiving gifts.
Okay, I would say quality time, physical touch, and gifts. Maybe it's top 3. Do I only
Top
get
2.
one?
You get you have a primary one and a secondary one.
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the
I mean,
thing
you
with
have all
the
of
physical
them.
touch. It's like I want to give it. I don't want to receive it. I want to be the one that.
So
does that
I would
count?
think that I don't know. I think that might be your secondary because if you like
I
to
would say quality
give
time.
it, normally you give
You give
love.
is your secondary, right?
What?
The secondary is like you give it.
Well, normally you give love in the way that you like to receive it. So if you don't like receiving physical touch,
That wouldn't
Like
be
it-
my first
it
or
wouldn't.
second.
yeah, it'd probably be lower on the ranks.
I like to give love. I guess it would be quality time. I don't
Yes.
think it's necessarily words of affirmation. And then what was the
Acts of service. So
acts
like
of service, like cleaning?
cleaning,
the
bringing
dishes
food,
or whatever.
doing laundry for you.
I think that would be lower too. I think it would be quality time and physical touch, but physical touch in reverse. And then last,
I
or
want to
then
touch you,
third.
but you can't touch me.
Yeah, and then gifts. Yeah, and then I would do gifts. But I enjoy giving gifts that I know people will like. I cringe giving gifts that I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If I know someone, it's
You should take it though. You should retake that test or the quiz.
yeah. I actually want to read the book.
I have
Maybe
the
that
book.
could be one of our books for our book club.
I have
Oh,
the book.
yeah.
You can,
So
you can
excited.
borrow it.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
I should, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
What are
What-
y'all's?
Mine is words of affirmation
Okay.
and physical touch.
Okay.
Like physical touch, not meaning like sex or anything like that, but like holding
Thanks for
hands.
clarifying.
But I mean, I think that guys always think that theirs is physical touch because guys like sex, and that's not what it is. It's like holding hands, cuddling on the couch, or like just little things like in public or even at home, like back scratches, or just coming by and like slapping your butt, or whatever.
Yeah, I get that.
Little
I
small
like-
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm in love, I guess I do want that. If I'm not, I'm like, stop, stay away.
Yeah.
This isn't cool. Even like my hugging with my friends, it's sometimes awkward. I'm like, one-handed hug.
All of your hugs are awkward. Literally.
I've gotten better. It's learning and growing.
But in my last relationship, his was physical touch, and with mine being second, but my first is affirmations. Like, he wasn't giving me words of affirmation, so I didn't want him to touch me. So it's kind of like they all affect each other. Like, So he wasn't giving me what I needed to hear to make me feel loved.
Sure. So ultimately, it would be perfect if two people came together that had the same love language, because that's how they would give it.
Oh, Martina and Ken, they're both quality time and physical touch, so they could just spend all day on the couch together touching, and they would be perfectly fine. They would be perfectly fine.
Well, I need to find something.
I know. I was like, I need to find whatever that is and apply it to my life.
Yeah.
What's your love language?
Mine's words of affirmation and gift giving or riving, whatever that is.
You like the gifts?
I like the gifts.
Yeah.
But with thought
I like
into it. It
thoughtful
doesn't
gifts.
have to be
Yeah.
like
Expensive.
you got and bought it. You could have made it.
Yeah.
That's
For all I
true.
care.
Those are actually the
Yeah.
best. It's like a handmade gift.
Yeah.
Something letting you know they were thinking about you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have the worst. I had the
These are the funniest stories. I know where she's going with this, and she has the funniest gift-giving stories from her past relationship.
Okay, so this was, I think I know which one you want me to tell.
Tell them both.
But, okay, so we had just started dating. It was our first Christmas together, and we had been talking about Like, he would always bring me to these stores and then, like, be like, oh, yeah, I'll buy you that stuff. Literally, throughout our whole relationship. He'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll get you this, blah, blah, blah. We went to the boot store, and I was like, I need some new boots. I totally forgot about this until just now. I was like, I need some new boots. He's like, okay, yeah, like, we'll try some on. Like, I literally physically tried on multiple pairs of boots and picked out a pair of boots that I liked. And he's like, okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. So, come Christmas time, he comes in town or whatever, and I have this box. I'm like, yes, it's those boots that I asked for. They were kind of heavy, and I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, no.
And so I opened the box, and there's, like, tissue paper in there, and there's, like, another box, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. And so I opened the box again, and it was a fucking 5-pound weight in the box.
Psych! The first time I heard this story, I was in tears. I was like,
oh, no.
There's no way. Knowing her, too. I've known her for 10 years. I was like, there's no way he actually did this.
I was livid.
And keep going, because the fact that there wasn't another gift.
There wasn't like, here's your gift, surprise, just kidding.
Joke.
Here's your actual gift. No, that was like, that was it. Are you kidding? I think I had like a vein popping out on my forehead a little bit. And he was like, well, my mom thought it would be funny. I'm like, it's not funny. It's not. Let me just tell you right now, don't ever do this again. Don't ever do it again.
He did it again.
He didn't do quite the same thing, but he always waited till the last minute. And so Valentine's Day one year, we're doing a long distance relationship. So I was driving from Midland, he was in Lubbock. Valentine's, he was in this little ass apartment, like trying to save money or whatever. And it was like one of those apartments where it literally just had like a sliding door to the room. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to be thoughtful and like make this little heart-shaped brownie thing and like bought a pan and the brownie mix and blah, blah, blah. He tells me to go and sit in his room so he can make the brownies while I'm there. And I'm like, there's not a TV. He literally just wants me to lay on the bed.
This is a 45-minute process.
And I'm
making
waiting.
brownies.
He's mixing it. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, just wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be so great. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I come out and I'm like, seriously?
Y'all could have made the brownies together.
Could have made the brownies together.
Oh my God.
Instead he waited
and that just ticked me off even more. And I was just like, you know what? This is dumb. But yeah, so I'm like, I don't even care. I just want you to like do it ahead of time. And not right in front of me, like
and not lie,
and don't trick me.
Trick you, yeah.
Don't trick me to tell me. But he would do that all the time. We would go like before I got my Apple Watch, we would go to Best Buy and we would walk around and he's like, oh, which one you want? And, like I literally tried on an Apple Watch.
God.
He's like, yeah, we'll get it for your birthday.
Evil?
And then he would never get it, and I'm like, okay, well.
He got your hopes up way too high.
I'm like, well, I'm just not gonna ever expect any good gifts from you. So gifts is not really high on my list. He's taught me very well.
Your expectations are low.
They are really low. So if someone ever gets me like a really thoughtful gift, like I really appreciate it actually.
That's the problem with me and dating is because my expectations are so high from my parents. They're still together, and my dad still to this day will make my mom like this spread and put it in the living room with candles, or like he'll take a picnic,
like a surprise dinner in the living room.
Completely surprise, and it's to the point where it's funny. It's so romantic. She loves it, but it's funny because she'll roll her eyes, and I'm like, if you did not have this in your life, you would be deprived of this like romance. Mm-hmm. She truly, truly loves it, but my expectations are that, the guy I date is just going to be that romantic.
Your dad is like a dream.
Everyone says that too.
Everyone should be living up to Roger's expectations.
Yeah.
They really should be.
And then every Valentine's Day, I'm 27, I live on my own, and he still gets us Valentine's Days cards and chocolates, and I'm like,
yeah, my dad does that for us too. He'll get us like a little balloon and some candies and stuff. My mom does that for me too on Easter too.
Yeah. So if I'm dating someone, I just naturally expect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was let down a lot actually. Now that I think about it, that brought back back some bad memories.
Sorry, it made me laugh.
Anyone listening, I mean, they're great stories. I totally actually forgot. I just tried to like put them in the back of my mind and never think about them again.
My bad.
Okay, so why don't you tell us, like, now that the New Year's here, 2020, woo! Why don't you tell us your top resolution in your word for 2020?
Okay. I don't really have a resolution. I'm just
You're already perfect.
constantly working on myself. No, I just
love
don't
that.
know what I want it to be. So, like,
You can't narrow it down.
yeah. And I know, like, there's a lot of areas in my life I want to improve. And so I think for me, it's like just starting. So, like, tonight I did hot yoga, and I haven't done it in like 5 months. And I used to do it regularly, yeah. And I loved it. Like, I am gonna start doing that again. And that was just, it was the first step. Just taking that first step. Doesn't matter what it is, or even if you know or don't know, like, just doing something different. So I think that was another thing me and you talked about, is I want to find something I'm passionate about, and then put my whole self into that, and like enjoy it and love it outside of work.
Like a hobby, like a
Yeah. Something I truly enjoy. And there are a lot of little things I enjoy, and I'm really good at starting things and not finishing them or following through. So I guess follow through, and that would lead into my word, which is commitment. I want to try to commit.
Nice.
Whether that is with somebody, with my hobby, with my family, with my friends. Like, I want to make sure I'm fully present.
I
I like that.
Because when we were talking about it at dinner, you were talking about a relationship, but I like that you've incorporated it into just like the things that you do in your everyday life, like the things that you start, commit to doing them and finishing them and following through.
And the reason I think it evolved to that is because even like tonight, like I finished the hot yoga, and I just remember feeling like, remembering, I love this. Why did I stop? And so I was like, I'm going to continue it. I'm going to find those things that I'm really passionate about, and continue with it. And then hopefully, like, get my friends involved too. And
I think it's really hard because, like, when you do miss a day, it's so easy to, like, talk yourself out of not going. But when you say, like, you're committed to going, like, today, I really did not want to go and work out this morning. Like, we did sprints and stuff, and I was like, I really just don't want to. And Luisa's like, no, let's just go. And it's really nice, obviously, to have, like, an accountability partner.
oh yeah,
But, like, committing to just going even though you don't feel like going, because you're going to have those days that you don't feel like going, but afterwards you always feel so much better. Always.
And it's always on those days where you're like, God damn it, this was the best workout ever.
Yes. Well, even like getting ready, I was at work, and I was changing into my yoga clothes, and it was super cold today. And so I remember like putting on my shoes, and I was just like, oh, in my tank top, I was like, this sucks. And then as I walk through the door and I see the environment and we start, and I'm like, this is actually not the worst. And afterwards I was like, wow, I feel so good. I'm going to go every day. No, it's a little aggressive, but I honestly, it brought back all of the memories, endorphins. I mean, it's been like 5 months. It's been me putting it off. Like, I do some workouts here and there, but it wasn't like everyday routine. And so, yeah, I'm going to start committing.
Good. I like that. All right. So to wrap up, give us some advice, some words of wisdom, Kelly. Some advice.
For all those adults out there
Yes.
who are struggling.
Keep your head up. Find people that love you. Get rid of the ones that don't. And just wake up each day and know that there are people out there that love you, no matter what you think, and you're going to be okay.
I liked that.
I like that. Cool. Those are words to live by.
Yes.
From Kelly Thomas.
Ooh, that was off the top of my head, but I think that's something I would want someone to tell me, like, you are going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get through it.
I think those
This
are words.
Those are words I think
pass.
we all need to like.
Yeah, and especially like worrying doesn't solve anything. It really doesn't. So just knowing that you're going to be okay. There's always solutions to get out of any situation.
Find your support system.
Yeah.
Hang on to them and love them. Love them back, because
It's a two-way street
It
for
is.
sure. Definitely. You can't expect them to love you and give you all their support and love without giving anything back.
Yeah.
It's definitely a two-way street.
Completely agree.
Well, thank you for coming on our show.
You're
It's
welcome.
been so
Thanks for
great.
having me.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you.
Love you.
So if you guys want to follow us on Instagram, if you don't already, our Basically Adulting Instagram is at Basically Adulting.
247.
I always forget that part. At Basically Adulting 247.
Mine's private. If you want to follow me, I think it's Kelly18
Yeah.
on Instagram.
So go follow her. If you go slide into her DMs.
I will
Yeah,
try
she's
to
single.
remember to accept and follow back.
Yeah, maybe like give her a message and say, hey, I listened to you on the podcast. You seem like a really cool chick. I want to be your friend. And maybe she'll accept you.
I love it.
You have to be a little witty with her because
Yes,
she's
I love a
she's
wit.
a little sassy. All right, let's cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.